through because it deserves to be read. Miss Paula Patton is an alumnus of the USC School of Cinematic Arts, where she studied film production, directing, and critical studies, and began her career as a documentary filmmaker. Over the last 2 decades, she has had a tremendous career as an actor in films and episodic television, solidifying her as a formidable screen star. Paula made her film debut starring opposite Will Smith in the Sony comedy film Hitch, directed by Andy Tennant. She also has worked alongside Denzel Washington in Deja Vu, the film we just saw. Clap it up. And in Two Guns. She starred with Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, and with Kevin Costner in Swing Vote. Most recently, Paula wrapped shooting the 2nd season of BET Plus' legal thriller series, Sacrifice, a spin-off of the film. Paula also stars in the series playing Daniela Hernandez, a highly sought-after entertainment lawyer who navigates the nefarious lives of her rich and famous clients. Paula was instrumental in turning this film into a successful television series, co-executive producing the 1st season and executive producing the 2nd. Paula was co-nominated for a SAG Award in the category of Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture for her performance in Lee Daniels' Oscar-winning Precious, starring opposite Gabrielle. Sorry. She also received an NAACP Image Award nomination in the category of Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture for her role in the film. Paula's many other acting credits include Idlewild, starring opposite Andre Benjamin and Terrence Howard, About Last Night, starring Kevin Hart, Baggage Claim, directed by David E. Talbert, Sony's Jumping the Broom, where she starred alongside Angela Bassett, Searchlight Just Right, directed by Sanaa Hamri, where she starred opposite Common and Queen Latifah. Her leading role in the 2018 film Four Kids and It, her leading role as Laura Price in the 2017 ABC series Somewhere Between, and her leading role in the international limited series Devil's Promise. As a producer, Paula produced the 2016 romantic comedy Perfect Match. She also produced and starred in the 2018 film Traffic for Lionsgate, which was directed by Dion Taylor and starred Omar Epps. Please join me for the last time in a homecoming welcome for Miss Paula Patton. Okay. My first question is, how does it feel to be back? I know it's been a very long time, so how are you feeling right now?
It's been a very long time. Hi, Michael. How are you? Michael is the reason I'm here. I'll go into that in a minute, but it's surreal. It's changed so much. So I was like, I don't recognize everything, so that's a little bit weird, but it's also sort of a full circle moment for me in my life in general. And so it's incredible that it's brought me back here to USC, because this is where I fell in love with filmmaking. I loved it as a child, but here I got to really foster it, you know, and I learned so much, and I took a strange route, and I ended up becoming an actress, but filmmaking has always been my love, and I'm finding my way back there now.
I love that. So I want to dive into this strange route. Of course, we're back here where it all started. So I know that you went to the USC summer program and fell in love with that, made some films, and then you went on to the PBS The Ride program, doing the documentary, and then you came here to study critical studies. So I know that you intended to be a director, but you always had a passion for acting, yet you didn't pursue directing straight out of college. So can you walk us through the start of your journey shifting from directing and studying here at USC to graduating and going on to become the acting sensation that you are?
You know, I think it probably started as a little girl. My favorite game growing up was make-believe, and I would create stories in my head and then I would act them out. And so I love the idea of storytelling, and I went to performing arts high school, and this one film I saw changed my life, and that was Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. And I looked at that and I was like, wait, oh my gosh, I didn't know films could be like this. I didn't know that a filmmaker could be the auteur. I didn't understand the idea of an auteur, you know, and that Black experience. And I just thought at the time that I was in high school, what was offered for Black actresses was very minimal, quite frankly, the opportunities and the variety of roles. And so I looked at that and I thought, well, I have a lot of stories in my head. Maybe I should do that. I want to be able to tell stories and create the roles for Black actors and actresses to be in. And so then I found out through a friend, his name was Khalil, he dressed exactly like Spike Lee. He had all the gear. And he's like, USC does this summer program, and I said, oh, that sounds amazing. So I went to USC and I made these short films. And then you just kind of like, you have to find, you flow with the river of your life, how it takes you, right? So yeah, and then I was still acting in performing arts school, and my mom, who's here right now, hi Mom, she didn't want me to be a child actor, but when I could drive in high school, she was like, okay, you can go on a couple auditions. And we had a family friend that was a manager, and there was this show called The Ride, and they were taking 4 young filmmakers to travel across the country and make documentaries about other young people throughout America. And so I didn't actually know that when I went to the audition, but I go and I find this out, and they're like, I said, well, I made a couple short films this summer. And they said, you did? Go home and go bring them back. That was before email and stuff. People, you had to get the hard copy. And so I got that, and that's when I met Michael Renoff. He was our professor advisor on the show. And that began my filmmaking studies, again, you know, during getting ready for this documentary program. But we were also on camera, so it was this dual thing of being in front of the camera and in back of the camera. And so I guess that's kind of my journey. And so I came to USC Film School after that, because I went to UC Berkeley, and for a semester, and I felt really lost, and I had kept in touch with Michael, and he's like, well, you should come to USC. And so I came here, and thank God I did, because I finally felt at home. And when I graduated, I did assistant work, PA work, and I think I knew I wanted to be an actress when I went to go work on a film as a PA, which is a really hard gig to get. I don't know if it is still for everybody, but you really need to know somebody. And so they were filming in San Francisco, and they were only doing like local hires, and my mom and my brother had a friend who lived in San Francisco, so I drove there to be a local hire. And on the way, they told me the lead actress had fallen out. And the whole drive, I just fantasized that I'd get there, they'd see me, and they'd put me in the movie. And I got there, and they were like, charge these walkie-talkie batteries. and I was the loneliest PA on set, because I had that job. I had to charge those and carry them in my backpack everywhere. So yeah, I don't know. And so then I graduated, and I was trying to write. While I worked these jobs in production, I got a job at a company called GRB that did documentary type television for Discovery Health. A great boss who let me work my way up from a PA to running sound, to doing camera work, to producing a couple episodes. And by that I mean it was just like it was a small crew. It's not really producing. It was interviewing these subjects, and then we had done every medical surgery you could imagine, it like birth. We'd done it all, and the show ended, and everybody was saying people are hiring here and there, and I don't know, I just took this time off. I said, I'm going to take time off to write. So I was sitting at my desk, and I was trying to write, and nothing was coming. And that's when I took a different turn. I said, well, what did I love to do since I was a little girl? And it was act. And so I said, well, you know what, we only have this one life to live. So at 27, which is old, I know you guys think so, because you're so, but I decided to start taking acting lessons and classes, and then, you know, after a year of trying, I got a call back, and then another year, and I finally got lucky, and then became my next study, you know, just because I got to learn from being around the directors. I got to get close. I mean, when I was a PA, I was doing lockup miles away. I never even got to see a set. And so now I was on set, and I got to see everything. And that's why I chose Deja Vu, because this moment that happened in my life was a miracle. To work with Tony Scott and Denzel And to see it all up close was just miraculous. And so then that became a different classroom.
That's beautiful. So in having the experience that you had shifting from being on both sides of the camera, because you learned, directing from these amazing directors and also here, and then also having the knowledge of an actor, how do you feel like that impacted your ability to be able to communicate as an actress and having the knowledge of a director behind the camera?
I was driving here today with my friend Victor, and I went, oh wait, I didn't realize I had 4 years of learning how to do this, and then you go and you become an actress, and then people sort of put you in a box about the acting, but I would always look at these scripts and I go, oh, something's missing here. Like, this isn't working, and can we rewrite this, and can we rewrite that? And I don't know what made me think I knew what I was talking about. And I think it was because I got to school for 4 years and I learned all this. But then you have to sort of navigate your way and do it in a politically correct way so you don't upset too many people. But you also have a lot of respect for what everybody else is doing. Especially having been the PA, you start to realize all the crew members and how important it is, every job that's being done. And so you have a lot of respect for the process, because it's a truly collaborative art form. It's really unique. That's like what I love about it. It's a novel, it's a symphony, it's a painting, it's all of it in one, and we all get to come together to create a dream and do this big game of make-believe. It's remarkable,
It is truly, truly beautiful. So, in speaking about how, I guess in honor of, for one, Black History Month and celebrating who we are, I know that you talked about how, back then there weren't as many roles available to Black people and of course specifically to Black women. So how have you seen the film industry progress in terms of opportunity and storytelling and the roles that we are now allowed to play and the type of stories that we can see on screen in this time and space?
I mean, it's weird, because I have to say it's a remarkable change. It's a remarkable change from when I went here. And I get choked up only because it's really kind of incredible. We have a ways to go still, yes, but it has been a remarkable shift. And so to that, I'm like, what a moment to celebrate our authenticity, that you can tell so many different stories, that you can show so many different faces. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Do you feel like in terms of the roles that you have played, do you feel like you've seen that shift within your own career?
That's a very good question. I feel as if I was very blessed early on, but I always felt like there was something more I wanted to do. Do you know that there were other characters I wanted to explore, and they weren't always available to me, truth be told. And so that's okay. And I think that's what I wanted to say today, was that, see, everything that we push up against is just guiding us to where we're supposed to go. So don't get upset, the no's or the stumbles or the roadblocks or what have you, because that guides you to where you're meant to be. And so through that journey of figuring out, hey, this is not all of the roles that I want to play at, there's other things I want to do, I went back to my roots, which was storytelling, which was starting to create my own content, create the stories I want to tell for myself, for others, and that's the journey I'm on now.
Can you speak a little bit more about that journey that you're on now? I know that I think we can all agree that anything is possible to come into fruition at any age when you commit to it. And I heard that, I know we were talking about you being interested in directing again and creating a production company. So what kind of filmmaker do you want to be now, and how do you intend for the stories that you create now to impact your audience?
you want to be very intentional. I want to be very intentional. And I would just encourage that to go, what is my purpose here? What is the mark I want to make on humanity? And I've come to realize through my own personal journey, which it's been a remarkable last 5 years. I've went through a tremendous change, a lot of change and a lot of healing. And that's led me to believe that I want to be a part of art that elevates humanity, that gives you hope, that entertains you. So even if it's scary or it takes you on, it's a thriller or a romance, but that at the end of it, you're uplifted. Your heart is more open, your mind is more open, that you've elevated the human spirit. That's what's important to me.
That's beautiful, and I think that that's something that's important for all of us to remember in all of the work that we create, that it's elevating and uplifting us as creatives and elevating and uplifting our audience. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I have some more questions, but we'll kind of tag team it, okay?
Oh yeah, before we went through this, I had to share this with
Yes.
you guys. It's so crazy. I got ready for this and I was like, deja vu. The reason I picked deja vu also is because, Tony Scott was so kind to me, and he was such an example of what a filmmaker could be. Outside of just having vision, this man cared so much about the cast and crew and everybody. And so I forgot at the end of this film, he gave us all these books, because every night this man would draw out the storyboards for the next day's work on the call sheet and give it to everyone. Everyone. And it's in that book right here. All his hand-drawn storyboards. And this man, every week he'd send me flowers and he'd say, Claire, that was my character's name, and she's like, Claire is doing very well. And he'd give me specifics and he'd encourage me, because it's important to remember as you become young filmmakers that you're also taking care of a group of people, And kindness matters so much, because you're going to need everybody to be there to help you win. Yeah? You're crying and you're making me cry. Sorry, I'm like, I don't know, I hope it's a good cry. Is it a happy cry? Yes. Okay, good. Me too. Anyway, so I just wanted to share this with you guys. I thought it was so cool that he did this. I just wanted you to see. This is only volume 1. But look. What he did. And every night he would draw them by hand. Isn't that remarkable? And everybody knew what they were going to do that day, because he did that. It's pretty cool. God rest his soul.
We can probably pass it around later.
Yeah,
let people come up and see it. So, what was it like working with him as a director?
I was like, have you guys seen Past Lives? Has anybody seen Past Lives? Yeah. We must have Indian. What's going on? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like sometimes you connect with people from the past. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
No, I mean, just the fact that he took the time to create these storyboards, and we know that all different types of directors have different directing methods. Sure. So what was it like to work with him as a director?
This man, he just loved people. He loved life. He was all about authenticity. I couldn't help it. I had to, because he gave me this jacket. This is the jacket. He wanted the jacket to be a real authentic jacket. And wardrobe would be like, well, we need 4 multiples. He's like, I don't care. It's that jacket. It's that jacket only. I don't want to see anything else. So they held on tight to it, keep it nice. And then he put it on the doubles, or and the stunt, whoever would be the stunt double, would get the fake jacket, but this was the real jacket, and I was like, pulling that out today, because I got the best memorabilia from him. And I loved that about his spirit. He just cared about every single detail, and he wanted it to be perfect. And he just had tremendous heart, and that's why Denzel worked with him as often as he did, And he's also, God gave me such a gift to have that be one of my first jobs, to sit next to him and learn by osmosis, because he's a filmmaker too. He was a filmmaker then, is that what people need to know. I know now he's directing, but he was already then, because that's part of the craft of acting, is to be able to go deeper than what's on the page. It's about creating something, and there was a reason why every Denzel movie is so great and why you want to like go see it, is because of the love he puts into it, the hard work he puts into it, so that it's a guarantee you're gonna go see his film and it's gonna be great, and he takes that much care. And so together, Tony and Denzel and then Jerry Bruckheimer, just a iconic producer, you had a front row seat to excellence. Oh, I was you'd be just soaking in what I could.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and open it up.
Please wait for the mic after Makai calls on you.
You can raise your hand if there's any questions that you would like to ask, and Disa will come around.
1 and then 2. You're one, but you had your hand up first.
Sure, yeah, I'll do one. First off, thank you so much for coming. Wonderful to have you here. My question is pertaining to, I think, as a director, talking and giving notes to actors is like a learned skill. That's something that I'm still learning. So, if you wouldn't mind sharing, could you give us some examples of what's been a really great note that you've gotten from a director, either in casting or for a different take or while shooting, etc.? And what's an example of some advice that like didn't help so much while you were in casting or shooting or something like that?
That's an excellent question. It's such a interesting dance you have to do, because in many ways as a director you want to be able to give some freedom, right? So that, and you have to have sort of an open mind, because it's an interpretation, but you also want to get your vision across as well. And so I think it's a delicate dance of allowing that actor to sort of feel the freedom, express themselves, if within time management, of course. We all know the time, the clock is ticking, you gotta do it, money, exactly. But, I think it's about how you share that information with your actor. It's about not doing it in front of other people, about pulling them aside, taking the time to look them in the eyes and get to what are you trying to feel, what do you want to communicate, this is what I'm trying to communicate. And it's about talking heart to heart instead of just do it like I said. So there's not necessarily, it's really about intuition and gut on how you're connecting together. Does that make sense? I know it's sort of like not hard physical thing, but it's about compassion, But you want to get what you want, so you also have to be very specific. And so I think it's almost like allow one, see where it is, and then go, okay, that was great, but here's what I'm going to need from you. Instead of maybe saying it right away, this is what it has to be. I would think the only thing so you want to be able to go in the space and also communicate like, hey, I'm trying to get this lighting effect, so I need to work within this area, right? How can we best do this? So you're going to go and rehearse it. You're not going to say, here and on this line, you are going to sit on this chair, and then on this moment, I need you to go to the sink. That's going to, for most actors, that would be not fun. You want to go in space, okay, what makes you feel comfortable, but this is what I also need. It's about communicating,
Thank you.
I want to know what things inspire you for like your character and for your storytelling.
That's my cousin, y'all.
What inspires me? God, so many things inspire me. Were you saying like, why do I draw into a role, or what inspires me in terms of what I want to do? I think, yeah, okay.
Kind of like both, like what inspires you for your characters that you play and you act, and then what it inspires you to create like your stories that you want to create,
Mm-hmm. Well, when you're given something and you are reading it, it's that you're emotionally moved and you feel as if your character's going to go through some journey, and I think that journey of self-discovery, and it's and sometimes that it's scary, that there's emotions you might not want to touch on, and that's exactly why you want to do it now, you know, because it frightens you a bit. But like I said, I think I have to go back to, I want to do work that makes people feel and think differently, that hopefully creates compassion in our world, you know? And so oftentimes I'll look at something, not just for the role I'm going to play, but that I'll love the whole movie myself, because that's important, you know? That it's a story you want to tell, not just the role you want to play.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely loved Deja Vu. It was crazy. But I was just wondering if you could, it's kind of like the last question, but I was wondering if you could describe your creative process when taking on a role or when preparing for a role and connecting with the character.
When I prepare for a role, it's many layers, really, you know. It probably starts, though, for me, with you do the background of your character, you're figuring out where they've come, where they're going, what's driving them. But sometimes for me, it's doing the lines over and over again. Like for me, that's when I start to find it. And so I rehearse it, I go again, and then I go, oh my God, I know what it is. It connects to this, and that connects to that. And then I start to write, and I start to find it. And it's a repetitive process for me. So I'll just run lines while I do everything, you know, until it's like in my body. And in that process of running it, yet all of this self-discovery, these things start to happen. And then that leads you to research. And then you go down the rabbit hole, and it's hard to describe. I don't think there's a science to it. You just give yourself space and time to find it.
Hello, my name is Paula. I'm in the program as well. She asked me a question, but I had a second one just in case. What was your favorite role that you've ever played, and while doing it, you know, how did it inspire you to just want to create more and be the best possible version of yourself?
Well, I have to say, it's funny my mom's here, but my favorite role was Miss Rain in Precious, because it was, so you cry, Mom. My mom was a school teacher for 35 years in the public school system. And Lee Daniels gave me this role to be a teacher, and I wasn't going to be a teacher in real life. And so I got a chance to play one. And it was really like a love letter to my mom. And there was this amazing woman also in New York that I based the character off of, and I got to shadow her for 2 weeks in New York. And then the way Lee Daniels, the freedom of making that film was like nothing I've ever experienced before or after. It was like making a student film. We had so much creative freedom you can't imagine. Like it was just this space to make art and figure it out. And I would just be in the classroom with all these young women and great actresses, and we were just riffing and improvising and finding it, and oh my God, it was so fulfilling, you know. And then I got to play somebody. I was also a lesbian, and I was discovering that. It was so unique, and it stretched me in so many different ways. And that was a really special film for me. Yeah.
Before we shift to the next question, what do you think Lee Daniels did to create that atmosphere that allowed you that creative freedom?
Not making a studio movie. Being fully financed by Sarah Magnus, who was generous and a visionary to give him the money to just do what he wanted to do. It was really remarkable. And then, of course, his brain. I mean, he's a genius. You know, he just had a vision for that film. And so he knew how to create the world and let you live within it. It was really special. Yeah.
Over here now.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. What's your name?
Martina.
Martina, nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for being here. First of all, I haven't seen Deja Vu before, and it's incredible. So that was just
super, super cool to see. We were like shook the entire time. We were like shaking. But I wanted to ask, so like just first of all, like you absolutely exude light, which is why like I got really emotional because sometimes like you meet people and just like you know that like when you said that you want to make art that like elevates humanity, that's sorry, I'm like whew. I think that like sometimes like you hear people say it and like you truly believe it. And I think that was just really special. So thank you for being you know who you are. And then my question is, I'm not studying acting, and I just feel like incredibly passionate about it and like lit up by it. And so my question to you was like, as someone who's also made multiple pivots in your career, and you know you went into acting, not right out of college. I was just wondering if you had any advice and kind of like something that encouraged you in your way when you knew that it was something that you felt like you were meant to do. So yeah, that was my question.
Thank you. You're so kind. Thank you. Well, this is a spiritual question, really, because it's about being fearless and not to take this life so seriously, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So have fun. It's meant to be this wild ride, you know, and it's not meant to follow suit. And you do it at this timeline, and you do it like this, and you do it like that. You do it the way you feel. And if you do and live your life the way you feel from your heart, and don't let anybody else come in here and tell you how it should be, I mean, then you're doing your life's journey. That's your path. That's what I would say, is that everybody has their own journey. And so I really encourage you too, because this becomes a very competitive game, that you really celebrate each other, and if somebody's going to arrive at their destination before you, but that was their train. Your train's going to come when your train's going to come. So celebrate theirs like it's yours, because then it will come to you sooner, right? Don't block your blessings with any kind of resentment or worry or when's mine. No. Yours is when it's supposed to be. Yeah. You know? If you want to act. And that, you know, and do it fearlessly. Enjoy. Yeah, you don't know when or how, and that's going to lead you exactly where you're supposed to be. So just follow your heart.
I'll be here next.
Hey there.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Cameron, and I'm currently studying acting.
Okay.
But no one's an act or just an actor anymore. Everyone's an actor, producer, writer, director, artist. And you yourself have created and been a part of like monumental films that went triple platinum in my household. I won't name the names. Jumping the Broom. But with that all being said, you talk about how you want to create art and work that elevates humanity. What are some things within this industry that may particularly lack that you would like to see futurely instilled or you yourself create?
Wait, say that last part about that you're
Yeah.
saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, like what are some things that you've like observed within the industry that is just not particularly good, and things that you would like to do to like kind of undo them and break more boundaries?
You know, it's tempting to answer that question, but I've been learning something lately, which is that talking about what doesn't work doesn't help anything, right? It just gets us stuck in a scarcity mindset. It's just not where it's at. You know, you get stuck in the pain, and if you you just can't go there. I promise you that. That's not what's going to help. What's the only thing is to know that you can create whatever you want. Don't let any story about how this didn't work or what's not working, because that's only going to it's like a little thing and it will hold you back. You know, a little thing gives you fear or anger. I'm sorry, they didn't organize the chairs right. I apologize. So I don't know, I just think focusing on problems is just not where it's at in any way right now. It's just going to hold us all back. All of us, every bit of humanity. You know, just let's focus on what's working and what's great and how we're going to do more of it.
And then here. And then I'll come down.
For a minute. Hold on a second.
First of all, thank you. I'm Bill Allen, that you know that you are giving us cultural fluency, spiritual fluency, and humanistic fluency, and historical. And I find that in all of the works that you've done, because it comes through in different increments. And it's amazing that they all are a concomitant of so many things, but they all touch the different nuances of humanity when you do it. I'll take, for example, one of my favorites that you've done, and I wish it had done better. I think it was because of the distribution, whatever, but I don't mind. I mean, that is the greatest black musical that we have had for a long, long time. But within that, you went into the historical context of it, and the spiritual context of it, and the context of non-acceptance. And I mean, I could go on, but how do you combine all of those things with its concomitant? And thank you so much.
Thank you. I actually don't know. You know, I think it's about, that's what I think I love the most. Like, when you're on set and give yourself over to that moment, there's like magic can appear. Sometimes it doesn't. but when it does, it's so special, and you don't know what it is. It's just because I think we're all just vessels, you know, and we just have to open ourselves to let spirit move us. Do you know what I mean? Kind of step out of the way a little bit, and I think that's why I love the art so much. That was what was amazing to work with Denzel, right? Because I'm so glad I didn't have too much education, because I would have been like, wait, we're doing it like this or that. But I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because it really informed me. And you guys have just seen the movie, so it's perfect. So Denzel says to me, do you want to run lines? And I'm like, yes, I do. And so we were running this line about, how did you know the keys were there? And he goes, because I can see the future. And I went, oh, you're so funny, Denzel. That's hilarious. That's not on the page. And he's like, you want to go again? And he said, okay. So he did it again, and he said it again, and I laughed a little bit then, and he goes, no, I can say that. And I went, oh, okay, I get it, okay. Because what I realized is that if I'm in the moment and I've known where my character has gone and where she's going, that even if he says that, I can now change my attitude to be like, why are you being so sarcastic? I don't get caught up in what's on the page, And so I'd watch this man, and they'd yell action, and he would jump down a rabbit hole and just free fall. That's why it's like jazz. He's just improv. And it was like magical thing to witness and try to just sort of gain a little by osmosis. And so in many ways I tried to approach things in a similar fashion where that's why you learn the lines backwards, forwards, every which way around. You've worked it every which way, you know everything, so that when you come into the moment, you can have fun and just drop in and see where you land. It's got free falling. That's when it's at its best, I think. Oh, my photos are big cute.
She had already answered it. So.
Okay, well, then go ahead.
Thank you so much for being here. Sorry about my voice. Okay. So, and piggybacking off the jumping room thing, still like a top 10 plot twist for me. I will die on that hill. I was gonna ask, I know a lot of, you hear a lot of actors and actresses talking about how like they embody a character for so long, like months, even years while on a film or a TV show, and how it's hard for them to separate themselves from that afterward. I was gonna ask kind of like, have you had a role that's been like that for you, and how did you disconnect in the end from it? Makes sense.
Yeah, I think all the roles do it to a certain extent. That like I came back from doing the BET show playing Danielle, and I was a little bit hard. I was a little rough. I was a little like, wait. I was a little touchy, and then you have to be a mom again, and go to the grocery store, and life just unwinds you. You know what I mean? So I can't as a mother just be, fully just become that character and not, because you have to take the hat off and on to do your job. But still, 16 hours of the day, you're focusing on that. Even when you go home, you're practicing playing that character, right? So it becomes a part of you to a certain extent. It is sometimes hard to shake. When I did this movie Traffic, I felt a little dark, and it was a heaviness on my soul, Sometimes I even look at that, like sometimes if something's too far, you don't know if you want to take that with you, right? You're like, I don't know. I mean, I think on my journey now where I'm at, I'm like, I can't just stay deep in that. That character's going to need to find a way out at some point, because it sticks to you. It does a bit, to be honest. And then life, though, hopefully you do your yoga, you meditate, you chant, whatever, and it just starts to unwind, and then you get back to yourself,
We've
We
got
hope.
2 questions down here, and then we'll go to you, okay? Go ahead.
Hi. Where are you? Oh, there you go. I can't find you.
Hi, I'm Cameron. I am a digital social media grad, and so first I'm in awe right now because I'm just so grateful to be here in this room with so many creatives and in front of you, seeing your work. And so my question has a lot to do with your younger self and how, because you talked about building, I have an imagination and building these worlds when you're younger, and I just want to know, like, what would you want to hear from your younger self now, being where you are in your career, and what's advice that you would give your younger self?
Ooh, that's such a good question. My younger self would tell me, keep dreaming big, don't give up, anything's possible. And I would tell my younger self, stop worrying, don't be afraid. Be your authentic self, and you're always safe and protected, even when you feel like you're not, you are. We're always being taken care of. Thank you.
And when you said it was like jazz, I feel like that's the title of a new memoir coming out. I'm a jazz musician, so jazz. Everything you said was jazzy. It was straight from the heart. So thank you so much, because it makes us all feel, ourselves too. And I think that's what we're trying to do as artists. We want to just, when you watch our stuff, man, it just makes you want to find your purpose if you aren't living that. But we are in the time where things are changing right now. And some of us, have already felt some of the scars of this industry, and so now we're in the emergence of this entrepreneur, guerrilla production, things like that, because we've seen our friends make these beautiful shows and they just get eaten alive, so there's a dark side, you know what I'm saying, but, I believe in that light that you're talking about. So do you have any practical advice for those of us that don't got the big friends from up top, and you know what I'm saying, and I believe in my message, I believe in my vision, I believe in my work, and I know it'll come, that train will come, but I'm just saying,
I mean, it's I hear you, and it's about having pure and utter faith, and there's a lot to talk about that doesn't work. It is, honestly, I came to this realization, I'm like, it is one of the hardest businesses to be in, because there is a lot of pain around it. There's a lot of rejection. It's got a ton of eyes on it in ways that you can't imagine. Entertainment itself, it can eat you up and spit you out, because you can't imagine all the places it can bring you. I can't even begin to tell you. It's a challenging world, and yet your soul chose to do it because you wanted to tackle this. And that's what I came to realize. I'm like, you can let it eat you up and spit you out, or you can go, okay, wait, my soul can't help but do this. Because that's why you have to love it like that, right? You're like, I just have to do it. But don't let that happen. Just go, I'm meant to infiltrate this. I'm meant to do this. And on this journey on earth, and this human journey now, I decided to take on this enormous thing. I don't want to call it a monster, because it's just this behemoth. It's this thing, right? because I wanted to win in it. I want to win with the light, right? And so you just have to walk on faith that you're meant to go and turn things, you know, and don't let your soul get taken. And even if it does, pick yourself back up and get back in the race.
In the back here, and then you, and then over there, okay?
Hi, thanks for being here. I'm a big fan of your work. I was just gonna ask, what was the most challenging role, and how did you overcome it? And what's next for you in terms of, do you still want to write or to act? And because I know you were very passionate about the industry, so I just want to see how the journey's been and just the immense challenges that you face.
Gosh, what was the most challenging movie? I mean, I guess that, like I said, I think they all have different challenges for different reasons, do you know? I don't know if one has more than the other. I don't know if I could pick it, because it picks you at a certain time in your life, for some reason, do you know what I mean? And then you have to deal with it. I don't know if there's any real easy ones. I mean, listen, the romantic comedies are really fun. They're like, it's joyful and fun and easy. It's like ice cream on a Sunday a little bit. Yeah, so I don't know if it's the most challenging. I have to think about that one, right? But what I realized, this is my journey now, is to create my own content so that I can live out the dreams that I had when I was a little girl. And so I've got a couple books that I've purchased, option, and I've got a few other projects, and I'm working them up from the ground up to create my own production company and have sort of some ownership of the work that I do. And I see eventually that leading me right back to where I started, which was directing as well.
Can you talk a little bit more about your experience producing? Because I know you've executive produced, and then you've been a producer in a multitude of ways on many of these projects that we spoke about. So what was it like, kind of having experience in both, like when you were the star and you were also producing on film, and then for the films that you just produced, what was it like for you stepping in and acting as a producer?
Well, I've only acted in things that I produced, but the producing I did in the beginning was creative, you know. So it was about looking at the script, how to make it best, and how to creatively make this film the best it could be, you know, and being a collaborative partner with the filmmaker. But with Sacrifice, which is a television show, that was like going to get my master's degree. I got a chance. BET gave me this opportunity to executive produce it and co-executive produce, and I got to really learn about television production. It was really a remarkable experience for me. So I got to get into all the departments. I got to see how everything worked and how it came together. And what's great about television is because you have to learn how to do things at a certain time, and you've got to, can you still be creative within that? It's a tricky thing. But that was a really fun challenge for me, and I learned a lot. And so that's where the physical production has taken me, and realizing that now I don't need to be in all of the things that I produce at all. I want to create roles for other people, but oftentimes that can be sort of the opening of the doors. You're like, yeah, I'll act in it too. But there's there's roles I'm dying to play, and so that I'm creating them for myself.
I love that. I think we had another here, and then
Hi, Paula. Hi, Paula. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Minuet Silver. I received my MFA in 2020, so we technically walked in 2021. And a lot of my friends and I were in assistant positions. You know, we're getting into rooms in those spaces, and then the writer's strike happened. So we're experiencing the pandemic and, you know, the strikes on top of life. So I wanted to know, with full transparency, because a lot of people, you know, when you're in school, you have the shelter and the safety net, and you don't realize what life is really like outside of school until you get out of school. And, you know, a lot of my friends are from across the country, you know, we're not from the state. So I wanted to know, what did you do when you were in your in-between? What was your routine like when you weren't where you first started in school, and not necessarily where you are now, but what was your process like? Like, how did you get through your days, your routine, your community, things of that nature?
You mean, you were talking about the in the off time?
The in-between.
The in-between, I get it. I didn't probably do so well with the in-betweens at that time in my life. And so now I would say that, but I've learned how to do them now. And so I can only give you best wisdom from that place, which is that you have to keep living life. Like, stay curious. Don't let and really, this is what they say about being in the present moment. If you go in the past and you're wondering about, well, when I did have something or when that was working, that's not going to serve you right now. And if you go into the place like, well, what if it won't happen, or what's going to be next? Then you're not living this life right now. And so if on that day you don't have anything to do, go to the botanical garden. Or, I don't know, look and explore life, because that's where you're going to get food, right? And I would say just keep living life. Don't stay stuck just in production mode or just in how I'm going to do that. Like, experience life and know that this is happening to you for a reason right now. It's stretching you and making you uncomfortable to build your strength and resilience for when your moment comes. That's why you have to handle this one really well. So it's tough. I'm 48 years old, and I've had to take I wish I knew these things then. I did not. So I'm here to tell you how important that is. Just you have to trust that everything is working out exactly how it's supposed to. And your job now is to stay excited, curious, creative, and know that it's coming. I've recently become a Buddhist, and this woman told me this incredible story about this jazz musician, Wayne Shorter. And Wayne Shorter lived his life with this theory of like, where there's shit, there's a pony. Wherever there's shit, there's a pony. And so if life is giving you a bit of shit, you're just like, I know there's a pony in there somewhere. I don't know where it is, but there's a pony and I'm gonna find it. But stay focused on the pony. You can stay focused on the shit, and we know where that's gonna get you, not very good places. But if you focus on the pony, incredible things can happen. And I'm just going to give you a quick little story, because that was so inspiring to me in times when things have been hard, And he said, so at the end of his life, he was in his early 80s or what have you, and he found out he had a tax problem. He owed the taxman like $385,000, which was a lot especially for a jazz musician, right? And his wife was a little bit scared. He's like, where there's shit, there's a pony. I can't wait to find out what my pony is. And I always wanted to make this opera, my opera, Iphigenia. That's what I want to do. So in the face of this adversity, he stayed creative, right? He stayed curious. So he went on and he went to Europe and he performed and then he got an invitation from a man and said, hey, will you come to dinner with my wife and I, right? And usually, he always got offers like that, but he thought, I'm going to just say yes to life, right? I'm going to see. So he went to dinner with this man. And during the dinner, the man asked him about his life, and he said, I'm having a little bit of trouble. I have this tax bill. And his wife, was a little embarrassed, and she's like, we can lose our home. This is not something we want to talk about with people, But he knew that this problem didn't define him as a human being, had no merit or weight on the value of him as a human. So why not share this? So the man said, oh no, not the great Wayne Shorter. I'm going to take care of your tax bill. And he's like, okay. And he's like, this is in Europe, right? He finishes European tour. Weeks later, he comes back to the States. A week later, he got a call from the IRS, and they said, your tax bill has been taken care of. And now, what I love about this story is that if this man, in the face of adversity, had gotten drunk, stayed back from the tour, or he went on the tour, but he's like, I don't want to go out with anybody. I don't want to do that. I'm down. I'm depressed. Or if he was like, I'm shameful about what I'm experiencing right now. I didn't share it with anybody. He could not have gotten his blessing. So it's just so important. Like, stay excited, stay curious, look for that pony. Do you know what I mean? And don't be, and talk to people. Be open. Be like, I'm having a little bit of this. Is there a way that, do you see a way that I can do that? So you don't have to live in any kind of shame, because wherever you're at, that's not who you are. Doesn't matter what you achieve, that's not. Your soul is your soul, and it's always valuable no matter what.
Okay, I think we have time just for these last two questions. So over there and then you.
Hi, over here. Hi, before I ask my question, I just want to say, like, I met you outside and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. And then you started speaking and I'm like, wow, like, okay, you are beautiful, like, inside and out. Your energy is amazing. You remind me so much of my roommate, Kaya. Perfect for the moderation because, like, you should write a book because everything you've been saying, I just wish I could just engrave it into my mind and then just remember, you know, where this shit is supposed But the question I wanted to ask was like, so you mentioned how you started off with directing and then you went into acting and then now you know you want to start your own production company. And I just want to know, like, what keeps you motivated in life? Like, what keeps you going, even through the in-betweens, even through everything? Like, just what keeps you motivated and never lets you lose sight of your dream and just maintaining that energy as a powerhouse, you know, and as a woman, especially I think in our generation, you're under so much pressure because you see your age mates doing better. Like, it's like in every room you step into, there's always someone 10 times better than you. But like, what keeps you motivated and knowing that no matter who all these people are, no matter what's happening around me, I'm gonna get to the bag, you know?
That's right. Some of it's just an inner knowing, right? Like, there's just, why can't we do anything else? You just love it that much. You know you're meant to do this, you know, and I think it's about not looking at all at what anybody else is doing. That doesn't matter. It has no bearing on your journey. And everything's being perfectly set up and aligned. You know, it's all, this life is wonderful. The ups and the downs, you just have to say thank you for everything. I promise you, you'll live enough life and you'll go, that horrible thing that happened to me, oh my God, thank God, because this happened. Yeah. It's a guarantee, you'll see. So if you start right now just being like, thank you. Thank you for everything, and I just know what I need to do. It's just, you know, then listen, it doesn't mean that you don't have days where you get down, and that's when you have to find like your own practice of faith, right? And for me, I started meditating, and then I chanting, and just a place to get centered and remind yourself of who you are, and not to get caught up in all of that. And that's why I say, really, like, no matter what, celebrate everybody and what they're doing. It's part of you. We're all connected. And when you start to look at it and be like, why not me? Or this is like this, you're doomed. For your own personal pain, you could reach all kind of heights, but you're always going to be suffering. You know?
So you get to ask the next question.
Hi. Hi. My name is Yasmina, and this is my first year here, and I'm a theater major. And firstly, I just wanted to say that Deja Vu's been one of my favorite movies since I was 8 when I watched it with my dad for the first time. So thank you so much for being here. My question is kind of similar to the last question I was asked, but I was wondering, throughout all of the things that you've done and all of the different roles that you've played, not just as an actor, also as a producer, just every role that you've inhabited and that you've taken on, how you've managed to keep the thread of like yourself present throughout everything that you've done, and how you've managed to stay grounded and to stay connected to who you are. I'm not from California, I'm from New Jersey, 3,000 miles away. And so, and so I guess one of the things that I've been grappling with since being here is how to stay connected to me. So I've wondered throughout all of the things that you've done, how you've managed to stay connected to yourself and keep yourself present in everything that you've done.
I don't really know how to answer that question right off the top, to be honest with you. You go, yeah, you want to?
And to just kind of add on to your question, I think like we all see your light
in this room, and you feel it. Every single answer to all the questions that you've answered. But I'm wondering, before you had this spiritual awakening, you know, and this connection, what was before that? Was there a time where you did feel like you couldn't connect with yourself, or you weren't in tune with who you are and where you were going? Was there a time where you felt like you were lost, or you weren't connected in the way that you're connected now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a journey, you know. I have to tell you that I always found a home, though, in the work. Like, one thing that I can tell you is, like, when I was on set, that is my favorite thing on the planet. I love everything about it. I love the trailers. I love the crew. I love the cast too. I love everything about it. I love it. I love it. Like, and I love that moment that I get to pretend to be someone else. There it is. For me, that's healing. That's like where my happy place, you know? It's the in-between parts that is really tough, right? It is. You can really lose yourself and also get caught up in bullshit, to be honest. And you don't know it at the time because you start to take it really seriously. Rankings, this, that, you know, being competitive or, you know, not understanding, like, not looking at everything like it's a gift. I guess that would be it. It's just, everything's a gift. Like, and so, I think that's it. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, it has taken me a interesting, long journey to be here, for sure. And thank God. Thank God. Because we're meant to do it. Like, we're gonna fall on our face. We're gonna make mistakes. Like, be okay with that. Be like, oh, okay. You know, just don't be too hard on yourself. And I don't know. Like, just it becomes so trite, but that loving on yourself is so real. And I mean loving all the bits, all the messy bits, all of it. And you just have to get to that place where you're like, I just love all of it. All of it, all the mistakes, all of it, right? And then you'll never not be connected to it. Like, I would say as a young, beautiful woman, you know, beginning your career, just don't look at yourself through anybody's eyes but your own. It's tough because at the same time we're here and we want to entertain people. We need them to applaud and clap, and yet they're doing it because something inside of you is super authentic and knows something, right? You have to dig in deep into that and hold it. Then they can come, but it can't come if you're always like, oh, like me, what do you think about me? You know what I mean? You'll get, it's a very painful place. It doesn't mean that you can't still create great things in that, but you might not have peace in your heart, you know, and that's the most important thing on this journey we have here on earth.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
I just want to say this has truly been a wonderful conversation. I thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for gracing us all with your presence. And I think that, like, this is just a reminder to all of us that we can do it. We need to look deeply within ourselves and trust ourselves and keep pushing forward. And I think through everything you said, the thing that resonated with me the most, you just keep repeating, like, you just gotta do it. You just gotta believe in yourself. Like, that's it. Like, it doesn't matter who closed the door. It doesn't matter the people who might be in those positions of power where we feel like, oh, we can't get in. Like, you got it. And you believed in yourself and you found that. And I think that just all of us walking away from tonight, taking everything that Paula has given us and really implementing that into our lives. I think often we hear conversations and we hear panels and we look at podcasts. You know, we receive so much information on a daily basis and we don't implement it in our lives. So I just want us all to take a moment, like when you go home, tomorrow morning, like reflect on this, reflect on any gems that she may have shared that really resonated with you, and think about ways that we can all use this to keep pushing forward to be the creators that we want to be.
Paula Patton, everybody.